Hi, David Erdos with poem 99 from David's COVID 2020 vision, METROPOLITALAND. Sir John Betjeman wrote of this train, trundling its way out of Uxbridge. Today, carriage silence and my Jewish soul does remind of former train journeys in which fear and something as corrosive as fear, trepidation, echoed under motion, pushing passengers ever closer to the cold embrace of stopped time. Aldgate isn't Auschwitz, of course, nor Baker Street Belsen. Wembley Park is not Dachau, even if its towers do stand rebuilt. Yet behind our stairs we are stilled, as masks contain the closed person, and the return to work feels like murder, as time and truth seem to tilt. Why are we wearing these masks when they seek to cut the 2 meters? Outside the train, all is flurry, while this travel towards becomes grave. The train becomes a moving coffin of sorts, with the light of life caught through windows, with Preston Park a drab shadow giving way to the Finchley Road photograph no one saves. Held in here, we're one race, while outside black lives batter at the racist rule that has seen them crushed and then filled with new air. This we are trying to breathe as the imposed shrouds cover faces, and I can feel the rash forming around my mouth and nose as rage flares. We are still being kept under a chaos rule of fused colour, in which blood and black blur the senses and the world we once knew turns to smoke. I glimpse the gas towers ahead, but now the mist masks the bodies. As this protective sock reeks of jackboots storming the street, war's no joke. Even Churchill has returned under our prone minister's botched impression, while the cartoon stare of his statue is captured inside its own box. The Metropolitan line writes me now, close to such confrontation. As the riots boil in stark sunlight, just how will today end in shock? Another black man dies as I sit in silence, and then another, as the sad, stunned show seeks repeat. Twitter's song becomes sea as everyone casts their soiled teardrop, including me with this poem. But how can we sail through? And how will we now crest defeat? Kick the state for too long, and that state begins stamping. As we, headless chickens, suffer by face and throat, they'll slit us. Those who died in the camps had no reprieve at all. They fell silenced. While we rise, we are shouting, because we do not know who to trust. Soon, should they win, we won't know how to trust either. Hope forms despite that, but then it's spite that sparks all. For this is a battle begun, as everywhere becomes suburb. Separate streets made of people who dare to defend their heart's call. The train takes me on between zones. It is 10 a.m. and it's empty. Through the mask on my face, a hand stifles, and I think of all of those who would speak. The ghost of Churchill's boom can't be zoomed in his protective shroud, despite racists. BAME sets blame's agenda as contagion falls, horror rises to once more attain its own peak. Both black and white fuse, but it's really the black that needs hearing. The white stirs in slowly in an attempt not to grey, as that colour reminds of a former uniform found within a parallel landscape. The electric train trundles. With my entire face covered, I hear the bright fire and speak through my eyes as I pray. What are we moving towards? This is my 99th lockdown poem. When the daily ones end tomorrow, how will the next book be formed? What sort of words will I write, hidden like Winston Smith in my corner? For as colours run, pens start crying. Poor old Betjeman will be banished. The train arrives. The gap widens. Mind how you go. What has opened and what has been closed? Watch all doors. David Erdos, June the 15th, 2020.